You said it's you and Joshua here. Is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person.
World champion, he's now being talked about as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. Can that fight happen?
I think the fight can absolutely happen. I'm looking at it as Jake versus Joshua, which is quite biblical and it's quite impactful in many ways.
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is reportedly set for January 2026. With serious negotiations already underway, Jake Paul's manager, Nakiza Madarian, confirmed that talks have begun with Anthony Joshua's team and his promoter Eddie Hearn. Saudi boxing powerhouse Turki Al-Sheikh is said to be backing the event, aiming to make it a global spectacle. Potential venues being considered include Wembley Stadium, several locations across the U.S., and major sites in the Middle East.
In terms of those active discussions, how far have things progressed? Is it something that you can see happening next for Jake and for AJ?
I think we're looking at it happening in Q1 of 2026 is kind of the current discussion. I think it's public that AJ was taking a little time away. I think he had a little surgery. So once he's ready and once Jake is ready, we're going to squarely focus on that.
There are some concerns, aren't there, within the boxing world about Jake fighting someone as powerful as AJ. How much of a worry is that? We saw what he did to Ngannou.
So power is obviously the last thing to go. So obviously AJ has a ton of power and he's still fairly young.
Jake Paul, fresh off his win over...
Jake Paul, coming off his recent win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., has hinted that a fight with Anthony Joshua is very likely to happen next year. The two have been exchanging messages, and Paul shared that Joshua proposed having the fight at the end of 2025, with the full showdown expected in early 2026. Paul's manager, Nakiza Madarian, backed this up by confirming that active talks are underway for what he described as a biblical clash.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Jake Paul is turning words into action, building real momentum behind his challenge to Anthony Joshua. After defeating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Paul made it clear that a massive showdown with Joshua is exactly what he wants next. He directly called out Joshua on his podcast and reinforced that call-out after the fight, firmly stating that Anthony Joshua is first on his list showing. He's serious about shaking up the heavyweight boxing scene.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat. Knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
Jake Paul believes his potential fight with Anthony Joshua would be a huge win for boxing, bringing fresh energy, new fans, and worldwide attention. He's called himself a breath of fresh air for the sport and claims that legends like Joshua, Tyson, Fury, and Pacquiao recognize the buzz he creates. Paul emphasized that boxing needs a revival, and his mainstream popularity draws in younger audiences who might not usually watch traditional boxing.
You said it's you and Joshua here. Is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person, which are always fun. But it's going to happen, and it's just such an exciting fight that crosses the whole globe. When you ask a lot of people about certain boxers, they don't know their names. And everywhere I've been going, I just talk about Anthony, and I don't have, I'm global, so
It's just such a good fight for the sport of boxing, and people will think I will die, but I will show them why I can rise against all odds and beat him. Everyone's been wanting to see it happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money. Get in there. Make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Eddie Hearn has confirmed that serious discussions are happening for a potential fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, targeted for early 2026. Joshua is expected to make his return to the ring in late 2025 after recovering from elbow surgery. Saudi boxing powerhouse Turki Alalshik is also reportedly backing the idea of staging the bout, which makes the fight even more likely to happen.
Discussions with AJ are as follows. We will be ready to fight November, December. We are planning life without Jake Paul. But if that is for real, of course, we take that fight in a heartbeat. I don't just think Jake's doing it just purely for publicity, but at the same time, will he actually do it? We'll find out soon, but we're up for it. But we can't just live in the world of waiting for Jake Paul. So we're going to fight December, maybe early January.
Eddie Hearn has issued a serious warning to Jake Paul, acknowledging the huge financial potential of the fight, but cautioning that stepping into the ring with a top-level heavyweight like Anthony Joshua is extremely risky. He made it clear that this kind of challenge is no joke and should not be underestimated.
Jake Paul could last 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. 3, 2, 1. You've seen he's called him out, presumably.
Yeah, in 2026. I mean, that's like me saying I'm going to go for the gold at the 2028 Olympics for surfing. It's clickbait, but he might just be mad enough to have a go. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, you saw a guy who has the same size as AJ and who has much more ability than Jake Paul, which is Francis Ngannou. And you saw what happened to him, and that was scary for a while. So, yeah, we can joke about it, but I don't recommend it for Mr. Paul.
I like Jake. He's a good promoter, very good promoter. And he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humour, got good people around him, the key, so they know their business. There's a massive weight disparity, and that's a tough thing to give away, especially with somebody who's got so much physical advantage over him, and he's a young guy, AJ. He's not an old guy, he's a young guy. Will it happen? Who knows? Anything happens sometimes in our sport. But I think that is a big ask of Jake beating him. Big ask.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake, well, it just doesn't sit right. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it personally, but it's good talking point.
Eddie Hearn admitted that Tyson Fury's comments stirred up attention, but he made it clear that there's nothing evenly matched about a fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. In a straightforward interview, Hearn said that if anyone sees it as a 50-50 fight, they're only looking at it from a promotional angle, not a boxing one.
He's been with AJ and Frank Bruno up there, the past, the current. So you're in now, son. You're in the deep end, and he's a good kid. and a great fighter. I'm sure people are going to love being part of the journey.
Yeah, I know you're in a bit of a rush here, so I'll move on to Tyson Fury. Are you shocked that Tyson Fury and Anthony is going to come back to ring? And did you expect him to want Usyk rather than AJ?
I think that he's always going to want to avenge a defeat. I mean, look, he feels that he won both of those fights. You know, I thought they were very close. Don't think he won them, but you know, maybe he does fight Usyk again. We can't control what Fury does. I gave up trying to do that years ago. You've seen from the response online, no one's really interested in Fury against Usyk 3, and everyone wants the AJ fight. But the minute I come out and start saying this and saying that, it probably rolls us back. So what I'm going to say is, good luck, Tyson Fury. Do whatever you want to do. Hopefully, it involves giving the public the biggest fight the country's ever had.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh, well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he just did an MMA fight. You know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Last one, what next for Dave Allen?
Well, Dave Allen's been an incredible project the last couple of months. I mean, look, we've been talking to Deontay Wilder, we've been talking to Josie.
Former WBC cruiserweight champion Tony Bellew has called the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua dangerously insane, voicing serious concerns about Paul's significant size and experience disadvantage. Bellew emphasized the potential safety risks involved, questioning whether such a matchup should even happen.
It's a possibility to happen.
Yeah, it's a possibility that it's a possibility an alien might just land on this fucking grass now. It's a possibility.
Listen, I'm not saying the outcome of the fight, but there's a possibility that this fight could happen, isn't it?
Said the word fight in the same sentence that Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. This is a guy who was on the Disney Channel, made his name big from the Disney Channel, and I haven't really slated this guy because I think he's doing some of the things he's doing for boxing is brilliant. This job he's doing with the women is fantastic. I went into a gym the week before he fights Tommy Fury, and there was 200 kids in the gym on a Tuesday night. Kids, he's a big part of that. Give him all the credit in the world. But in the same sentence, he's fought one live boxer in his career, and he lost. What would you say if I put Tommy Fury in with...
Jake Paul's promoter, Nakiza Vidarian, has responded to concerns about the size difference between Paul and Anthony Joshua, saying, size-wise, we can get comfortable with it. Paul reportedly walks around at 210 to 215 pounds, while Joshua has weighed in closer to 250 pounds. Vidarian believes Paul's strength, fast development, and recent experience at heavyweight like his bout with Mike Tyson make the matchup realistic. He expressed confidence in how Paul measures up physically, however, across the boxing world. Many fighters, trainers, and promoters remain skeptical. While some recognize the massive commercial potential, most question the fight's credibility, safety, and impact on boxing's legacy.
Don't put it past Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's got a weak mind, hasn't he? So Jake could end up getting into it because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
you really think he's got a chance?
Why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. Mate, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head, because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he?
What do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point, you were good friends.
I'm still good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking to him. Is this not what we're on? Is everyone not fake, or no? We all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like, what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Tyson.
John Fury, the outspoken father of Tyson Fury, stirred controversy with his bold take on the potential Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight. In a blunt interview, he claimed Joshua would easily knock Paul out, and if the result went any other, way, the fight must be fixed. His exaggerated remarks reflected his strong belief in Joshua's power and experience. Meanwhile, his son Tyson Fury offered a very different perspective, saying he'd bet £1 million on Jake Paul to knock out Joshua, calling the matchup a true 50-50 fight. Tyson's surprising stance sparked debate across the boxing world, with many questioning how realistic that prediction is. Jake Paul fired back with confidence, accepting the challenge and upping the stakes, offering £10 million on himself to win the bout.
Some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocked him out.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. He's protected. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was middleweight, but still. Sure. Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That is crazy. That's what he called Richter scale call out.
Simon Jordan has firmly rejected the idea that Anthony Joshua should even consider fighting Jake Paul. He argued that, despite recent ups and downs, Joshua remains a legitimate world-class heavyweight, and his legacy shouldn't be tied to a crossover spectacle. Jordan warned that such a fight wouldn't benefit the sport, casting doubt on whether fans or broadcasters could take a bout between a proven champion and a social media influencer turned boxer seriously.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. That I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. It's not. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work. But he's stepping into boxing, another profession. Now to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy. But we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul.
Forget Jake Paul. A lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does. But Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua is out at King's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddled with this, does he? Yeah.
No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last, now you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money.
Joe Rogan weighed in on the potential Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight during an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, expressing doubt over Paul's timeline. He questioned why Jake is pushing the fight to 2026 instead of stepping into the ring sooner. Jokingly, Rogan said, Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now. He's like, no, I want to wait till 2026, poking fun at the delay with a hint of sarcasm. He suggested Paul might be planning to bulk up, possibly even with steroids, rather than focusing on sharpening his boxing skills.
Talking right now about doing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul.
I know, I saw that.
Jake Paul apparently wants that fight.
Yeah, that fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists. What he did to Francis Ngannou, like, good Lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch, night-night guy.
Despite all the hype, veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora has strongly criticized the idea of Jake Paul receiving a WBC ranking, calling it a disgrace to boxing. Chisora argued that real fighters spend years earning their place through tough, legitimate competition, while Paul appears to be climbing the ranks based on fame rather than merit. He accused WBC president Mauricio Suleiman of trading the sport's credibility for money, saying the move is unfair and deeply damaging to boxing's integrity.
You see, upset they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers, to get those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Sousa decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his, in his back pocket. No, that is disgrace to boxing.
Former world champion George Groves has firmly rejected the idea of Anthony Joshua fighting Jake Paul, saying it holds no sporting value. He believes Joshua should be facing real contenders in meaningful bouts, not taking part in crossover events. That do little for his legacy. Rose described the matchup as low risk and low reward, insisting Joshua should either retire or hold out for a mega fight with Tyson Fury, the only fight he feels truly matters for Joshua's career. Fans have echoed this sentiment, widely mocking the idea of Joshua versus Paul and calling it a comedy event. Many expressed disbelief, with some labeling the matchup a joke, and even going as far as calling Jake Paul a cancer to boxing. Comments like Joshua's legacy should end with high-level matchups, not a circus act, reflect the widespread concern that such a fight could seriously damage his standing in the sport.
Heavyweight boxing, they have to bring Jake Paul into the ring to face off one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He's already scheduled to face Anthony Joshua, which would be a major step up. Tyson Fury said, I genuinely think Jake Paul knocks out Anthony Joshua, which is actually crazy. But what did John Fury say?
Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick.
If you saw what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou, who's not a boxer, absolutely flatlined him, right? You think a Canelo versus Crawford will do numbers? Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua would break numbers. It'll probably be on Netflix. You'll see. Is Jake Paul a real boxer? Can he compete in heavyweight against Anthony Joshua? The world of boxing is crazy right now.
To go from Nate Robinson, 5'7" guard that played in the NBA, to Anthony Joshua, you would never have picked it ever.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. He's not a joke. You know what I'm trying to say? He took an L there, but Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. It's happening, it's positioning, it's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face-to-face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's gonna fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly gonna be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3, because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. Do you know what I mean?